That was a
Alrighty
space
then.
good joke.
It wasn't. It wasn't a good space joke.
It really wasn't.
No. Let's space start. Anyway.
Wait, when I say it's a space good joke, do I mean space good or is it a space joke? Is the joke
I mean,
space good?
space good. Otherwise, it'll be a good space joke.
What is even happening? Shall we begin? Yeah, let's get this catch up going. Okay, so last session. Obviously you guys can help jog my memory because I'm tired. Had a long weekend with sweeps and stuff, so
This poor man had a long weekend.
we did. I believe you left the system that you were stuck in, using your newfound arc drive to travel straight towards Thea, the system where you were to meet with Dr. Jared.
I mean, before we argued a bit whether or not to save the people on the ship or not, and I think like we have them frozen like corn dogs in our cargo hold now.
Yeah, you do. You have two humanoids currently frozen in stasis cargo hold.
Great, we can wake one of them in its rocket.
Well, not saying shit. Anyway, so while traveling through Arc space, you guys took some time to rest and regain some of your energy. But when you arrived in the system of Thea, a kind of lightless system, you see a science base, a huge military science base, and suddenly an argument begins to arise amongst the crew because the creature in the box began to reach out, multiple members of the crew begging to be released, showing people visions of what would happen if she was to be given over to the Dr. Jared. While you guys were in like its tractor beam and it was dragging you in, this argument was going on. Everest kept like playing with the tractor beam and trying to get out of it and slowing you guys down. And an argument erupted between the group and Celeste opened the cargo bay hold to let in some Marines who looked very familiar, very similar to the Ark Marines that had boarded your ship and attempted to take you out in the previous few days. A fight erupted. The Marines were blown away by some grenades, but 3 of them managed to get on board. Celeste attempted to aid them, but it failed and she began to run. She made it down into the engine room, stole the arc drive, and got in the escape pod. And as is to happen in Numenera and many Cypher systems, the dreaded natural G1 and the GM intrusion happened. She blacked out as the escape pod hit the side of the port inside the Imperial base. This is when Kyandela, after being released, decided to start disintegrating some of these Marines and said, "Are you ready?" And she used her magic to teleport you guys, the crew, straight into Arc space. From there, Everest plotted a destination, and he plotted the homeworld of our very own Alia here. And that's where we ended the session, just as you guys entered Arc space. So our hands, let's set the scene a bit. As you enter Arc space, and the exhausted party moves inwards to the ship to meet up, heading towards a lounge. It's an awkward moment when the half-naked Eldridge being stares at you with her eyes sewn shut, and you all stare at her. She just says, "Please, do take a seat." With one flick of her hand, the seat in front of her slides back, as if by magic. Well, it is magic. And then she sits in it.
Well, I guess we have no choice.
She reaches over and touches the back of your hand, Alia. "My princess, you did well today. You served your queen well."
It was honestly the only thing I really could do. I didn't particularly want the universe to burn.
And then she reaches over to you, Tane. Tries to brush the back of her hand across your face. He says, "My knight, you look hurt. May I?" He reaches in, and as her breath hits your ear, you get a shiver down your spine, and immediately you are cold. And then a warmth floods up from your very being. It's like your heart skips a beat, speeds up, and then that coldness is erased. And you immediately feel a lot better. For 10 points to your might pool. I did it for you.
Oh, okay.
And you. She looks at Everest. Who are you? What are you?
I'm Everest. I was not involved in the decision to release these nakedness. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I looked at them and again, and I just blacked out.
Is the feminine form distracting?
Oh yeah, just keep distracting me. Wait, I'll just close my eyes. Oh, I can still see them.
The
Oh,
moment, like, you close your eyes, and it's a bit of an awkward moment, and she holds up one hand to where her eyes used to be. We need to find my eyes. That should be our next priority.
yeah, because we can't both be blind.
Open your eyes, I am wearing clothes. And when you stare at her next, she's wearing clothes. Robes.
Okay. I'm the pilot. I'm Everest. I like long walks on the beach. I don't think not having eyes is a detriment to the attractiveness of women. I'm at least a 7. You can't see that because you don't have eyes.
Oh, I see.
Actually, I'm a 9.
I have many senses, pilot. One of them is smell. Scent.
Ah, shit, that one always gets me. Yeah, I've said my piece.
Well, I feel and I sense that we are heading home. To Earth.
Oh yeah, I thought the little miss might want to tell her daddy that we stopped the universe from burning, so I brought us here.
Nods. Well, let me thank you for all that you have done. And as she walks behind Alia, she like trails her hand behind her shoulder, like puts both hands on your shoulder, Alia, from behind. Almost motherly, yet it feels slightly intimidating at the same time. And she leans in, so her voice is right next to your right ear. She says, "Somebody to guard my princess." And she leans over towards Tane. "We can't have only one night. We must have many if we are to take back my throne." And she seems to wander away towards the stasis chambers, and she brushes the frost away on one and says, "No, you won't do." And then she wanders over to the other one, wipes the frost away. Ah. Strong, masculine form. Shame his brain is dead.
He's still talking about me, or is she talking about the popsicle?
What say you then? Dost thou wish a gift? Or was service to your queen good enough?
Do you have in mind?
Like I said, a knight.
I mean,
smiles, and the first time you see that creepy smile, that kind of that almost human emotion on an eldritch creature that shouldn't have like a happy smile. And then she turns and touches the top of the glass on the stasis bubble, almost very dramatically, you know, so her hand slams against it. She says, "Watch." Deep in Ark space, there's a sort of formless mess to it all. A nothingness, a place beyond reality. But it can be used in magic and in many other ways to create life. You don't know how you came, why you came. But through that nothingness, consciousness sparked to life. You picture a nebulous, vast, rainbow-coloured swirl that collides together. And through it, a spark of life. Not in like flesh, bone and muscle, but in intelligence, soul, spirit. All on. When you open your eyes, it's cold. Your hand brushes up against the glass ahead of you, some sort of material, and you see the most beautiful face ever seen. Your small existence, your limited existence. And as you look up, there's a hissing sound. The rest of you in the crew, the stasis bubble lets out a deep, ear-shattering hiss. A kind of CO2 haze jets out from beneath the chamber and kind of almost fills the lounge. And then there's a pop, hiss, and the Queen turns to you. Says, "May I introduce to you your new knight?" And a hand reaches in, grasps your forearm, or tries to lift you up.
I'm capable. I'll heft myself out.
And you heft yourself out. Behind you, whatever belongings this being had are behind you, like a chamber beneath it, and you remember slight snippets of memories, but they're soon fading, being replaced with all that you have now. The abilities you know that you can do, they're all flooding to you. It's like a computer being started up. All the information is being loaded in as you look around in this dull, grey kind of chamber that you're in. You begin to understand most things. Basic things. You begin to understand you're alive. You begin to understand who she is next to you. And like, she begins to feed information about the crew. Small snippets that she knows. Like, you know that you're in space. You know what space is, for example. You begin to like slowly learn those small things that you should know. And then she kind of helps you out of the chamber.
I'll step out and bow down slightly. Thank you, my queen. Greetings to you, my new companions.
Hi.
Hello.
Doesn't this have to
Just
go
pronounce
through HR first?
Check his references. Check his references.
So what sort of stuff do you do on a spaceship?
Well, this would be my first time on a spaceship, to my recollection. So I guess I stand here naked.
That's about what I do in the cockpit, to be fair.
Good. We have a common bond already.
I like
No.
this one more than the woman who stole my shit.
What do we call you, Mr. Knight?
Orlon, I think. It is a good name.
Right. Thank you for this rather unexpected gift, my lady.
You are welcome. Awkward silence as everyone just stares at one another.
He
Orlon.
is just kind of standing there, just like,
Yeah, the queen does turn to you and go, Orlon, you may dress. In the chamber you may find your belongings.
very well. He'll turn and go get dressed.
She takes a seat once more. Are there any questions?
I thought you said that. Never mind.
I see you are confused.
Correct.
Pain, my knight. Then ask away. You have done me a great favour this day, or I will do you a favour and answer any question.
I don't feel that's quite on par, to be fair. Like, helping you out in a massive way to further your goals, answering a question. How do you figure that works?
The way I figure that, my knight, is that I have untold knowledge.
Right?
If you are not interested in asking questions, then please, beggar your tongue, knight, or I rip it from your head.
Alright. He's gonna be that kind of mood, is it?
Yeah, you're being a bit crude sometimes.
Thank you. I didn't think I'd expect that from you. She stands.
Anytime.
Miss Queen, I do have a particular question, if you don't mind.
Ask away.
When you were otherwise incapacitated, you promised me and my companions several things upon your release. I was just wondering if those bargains were still struck.
Which ones?
But I do believe you promised a certain boons for my family and the elevation of their house.
I?
Oh yes, quite emphatically.
Wait, did everyone else get to make deals with the spooky woman?
I think you were otherwise indisposed in the pilot's area.
Okay, don't ask the pilot if he wants anything.
I think you had all you needed, actually.
There's things I want.
What possibly more could you want? I pay for the Wi-Fi.
I'd like cable internet.
Like something other than lip.
20 light year long tether to the ship for this effort.
I need to know the code for the children's lock on the VCR.
Right. You want elevation of your house. Now see, this is where you get confused. Earth, or as you Terra Prima, has changed much in the millennia I've been going. Its political structure is now what? An empire ruled by an AI? Parliament? A senate? It's no longer a monarchy, I see.
Well, I guess an imperial authority, right?
And you want your family to be close to the throne when I back.
I only wish for what you promised. Safety, prosperity, and elevation of my house.
I promise your house, family, won't be harmed in my ascension. Is that what you wish?
You should have really read the fine print on this.
I think we should have. No, that's quite enough, thank you. And to be remembered once, of course, you take your rightful seat.
There is trepidation in the group, I feel it.
Was that what she said?
Yeah, and she's staring straight at Tane.
Oh, I mean, I just expected something more than words from you, I guess. So
No,
You couldn't.
We-
I'm not hesitant. I'm just
we got
disappointed.
we got a Play-Doh, man.
You can
I feel
expect.
like you did.
He's
He
loyal
is a
to
pretty standout specimen, to be fair. I don't even know where to look.
He's off changing. Don't perv him.
He will be loyal to you alone.
What, me?
She indicated the crew.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
have options. You don't have to help. But if you do, you will be rewarded.
Yeah, you keep saying that. And so we helped you. Now there's someone here that, I don't know, it might help me somehow, might not. No offense, Orlon. And I was hoping for maybe, I don't know, a nice gun or some cool powers or something like that. But here I'm standing with, well, a half-naked guy in front of me. That's not really what I was hoping for. Gonna lie.
Yeah, we need to hash out some details. Is dental care included?
You have-
What are the retirement benefits? Will the naked guy stay around?
Oh, he'll stay around.
Good, he seems nice.
I have imbued him with many abilities. Most of them useful.
Okay, you're doing this in a tone of voice that makes me think you're coming on to me, but I think you're doing it more in a highborn kind of way. But we need to hash that out. If you're saying he has abilities I would consider useful, that might differ from what you are thinking you're talking about.
Turns all on.
Yes, my queen.
Demonstrate your ability.
Oh, here I go unbuttoning.
No, don't! For fuck's sake!
Yes, one moment. Demonstrated.
Why are you like this, Everest?
He fails miserably.
Brilliant.
Great.
Did you roll a 1? Because that's blinding. I might
No,
actually.
it wasn't one, but it wasn't enough. Actually,
So
first
good.
level FF is free on that, so that does pass. I think Tane was most injured, right? You will restore 5 points to any pool, Tane.
Doctor.
Yeah, like, it's not just a doctor, he's literally laying on hands, isn't it? It's like a proper magical...
Yeah, he just kind of like raises a hand up to you and you feel better.
Oh, he's a space wizard?
Yeah, like, visibly wounds would begin to heal. Like, you know, blood would begin to stop pouring out wounds. The skin would knit together type of thing.
Space wizardry is against the law.
That's an information that she doesn't know. See, Kai and Della goes, excuse me. Why would magic be against the law?
Oh wow, you're not up to date. Oh wow. I sort of fluked history class, but kinda sort of when the AI in chief came into charge, that was a no-go, too powerful.
Shakes her head. Under my government, sorcery will be free to all. Learn it, or are skilled enough to learn.
Okay, I'm personally indifferent to that pitch because there's no magic in me. But
You say that now. He smiles. Their empty eyes glare at you.
No, trust me. There's no magic in him.
Oh, I believe you, Prince. But I feel like he can be molded to something greater.
Oh, someone tried to fix me once. That was a nasty divorce. So,
So seeing him take a mold, it was disgusting.
thanks for the, whatever you're trying to do here.
Right, well, I guess beneficial, probably, sometimes. So, yay.
So, how do we help you ascend to the throne? That seems to be what we're doing now, right?
Well, this is a small army that I have gathered here. Not likely going to work in my favor if I attack straight away. There are things that can be done to greater our chance of success. Turning my eyes. The placement of certain artifacts.
Lead away the way out.
Let's go do that eye thing first then, because this whole eyeless thing is kind of creeping me out.
I am thankful, though, for releasing me from my 5 millennia prison. Trust me, if that vile human had put me into that laboratory, ended very bad.
Oh yeah, I should probably put on cloaking so we don't get tracked.
There's no need. There should be no protection in the astral part.
Yo, where do we find your eyes?
I don't know. I'm not omnipotent, Everest.
Okay, but okay, so we just have to scurry. Is there anything special about your eyes? Like,
Is there anything special about my eyes? Of course,
Wrong question.
Everest. Each
but I'm
one-
sure they sparkle like the ocean breeze.
In fact, they do actually.
Oh,
No, really.
I
They
winked
are-
in a sexy way. You couldn't see it.
They are two gemstones, the color of the ocean.
Oh, they're gemstone. Okay, that narrows it down.
They are powerful artifacts among themselves. They are... Each one held an ability to enhance my sorcery. We could return them. Then I probably would not need many other things to succeed.
Your Majesty, or your preferred title, actually, it may be possible to help us one last time, if we are to agree, of course, to this journey, as it were, to retrieve your eyes. You see, in our assistance of you, it would appear something was taken from us, and I just so happen to notice that you're able to freely manipulate arc space. I don't suppose you could help us with the procurement of another way to travel through space. We might have to travel quite some way in order to retrieve these items.
Teleportation magic is different. What you are after is astral crystal, like the one stolen from you.
But yes, quite abruptly, actually.
You'll have to give me some time to figure out these details.
Okay, I guess we can spend that time hitting the internet for millennia-old shiny crystals.
The internet. Oh, well,
Just
actually, if you're going to end up in basically Terra Prima, like solar system, there is something called the net that you guys would know about. It's basically is the Matrix, but internet. You know,
Space internet.
yeah, you can just connect yourself in. It's like being inside Cyberpunk's internet.
It's like the
Internet.
internet,
Ooh.
except only 4chan.
Yeah, oh, no. Hell no. Okay, so anything anyone wants to do within this hour in arc space?
Finish dressing.
I need a rest of some kind, really.
Is the city's an hour to dress?
Well, there is an hour like until you arrive, so
I really need to
It does
rest.
get dressed. It does take some time.
Wait, let me check
I've only-
what state Everest is even in.
Taj, you can have 1 point to any pool.
No, thank you. I now have 1 might, 1 speed, and 7 intellect.
Everest can't even take a rest, he needs the 10-hour rest, so...
I need the 10-hour rest too. Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Oh,
Perhaps we can do that when we're home.
Intrusion as Orlon attempts to
Rest.
deal with Everest. So sorry if you get fucked, Everest.
The Queen immediately murders everyone.
yeah, no. So as you approach Everest and go to lay on hands, basically push forward, and instead of healing, can you roll a 1 on DC?
Of course I can.
That instead does damage to his might pool.
Right.
Ugh. My apologies, Everest. Powers of
Queen,
necromancy
what's your
are new to
refund
me.
policy?
Refund policy? Orlon here is but few minutes old. Once he gets used to his abilities, he shall not want for many healing.
He really
Is
is
it
about
like
the
a
stipulations.
14-day evaluation period within which we can return him free of charge?
She does
You
smile
have
and
my
laugh.
apologies. The difference between taking and giving life is problematic at the moment.
No, that's fine. If you excuse me, I think I'm gonna throw up the burrito I had earlier. And Everest goes to throw up. And after that he goes into his cabin and curls into a ball in his hammock.
Alright, so Alia, what are you doing in the hour?
She's resting, but she can't, so she'll probably take over watching the cockpit while Everest is knackered.
Okay. Tane?
Yeah, not much. I need a 10-hour rest, so I'm still feeling pretty bad. Wanted to ask, now that I've been healed, what happens to impaired? When does that go away?
That goes away the moment, like, your 0 has been...
Okay.
So the moment one of your pulls goes above 0, you go back up to heal.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, so I'm assuming then that no one else is doing anything, they're just resting and waiting.
That's correct.
Alright,
Yeah.
so...
That is real.
Do you want to art reveal Orlon
Oh yeah.
so people can see what he looks like? Have you got the full picture I sent it
I-
to you?
Did, but I didn't actually upload that.
Useless. Useless.
Bit of a blurry picture, but
It's not even the full art one.
I told you I didn't upload it.
He looks very
Not
serious.
it.
He does.
He's
I
a
currently
very
can't.
serious man.
I'm not in the middle of game.
Looks like you used 40k art.
I was literally just about to say, he looks like he's from a grim future where there is only war.
It might be, because that's exactly what I did.
Ah,
The little skull you can see tipped me off.
Yeah, well, when you see the full art picture,
The Space
it'll
Marine
be
pauldrons
more
kind of...
prevalent.
Yeah, the Space Marine pauldrons with the skulls on. It's pretty obvious.
Yep, he's literally just a Space Marine chaplain.
nice. Does he have orbital bombardment?
No.
Don't know until he reaches his last tier.
Oh yeah.
Probably
maybe
have to
last-
upgrade the ship first. Because we still don't have guns.
No, give it a drop pod and like rocket can drop pod onto planets.
Would you be so kind, Liam, as to remove Celeste from the Rust Monster and put all on it?
That I can do.
Thank you.
Alright, so are we just going to go ahead with the exiting of Arcspace?
Sit away.
Alright, so the ship comes to the end of its arc travel, and unlike entering a gate, you've experienced this before with the arc drive when you got to use it that one time. You exit Arcspace gently this time. There's no ring at the end, you just kind of, the colours of Arcspace, that fading green and ghoulish green just fades away. And as you do, there's a brief moment where you see, taking up most of the bridge's view, a pale blue planet. Vast continent on the side and a darkened crescent on the right. You see a grey moon on the other side of this planet, and below you, a ring around the planet, like a grey kind of ring. For Alia, this is your home planet. This is Terra, Superior Terra, and the moon beyond that seems to be glittering with lights is Grey Base.
Gentlemen, Everest, I'd like to introduce you to my home.
I'm not some hillbilly, I've been here before.
Yes, I'm going to... May I ask, do you have anywhere to alight or stay while you're staying on this planet, or would you like an invitation to my home?
Do I want to sleep in some rundown ditch, or do I want to stay at the princess's palace?
Yeah, that.
Okay. We're going to have to go over some ground rules. Listen up while we go in. Take us in slow. Number 1, no porn. Ever. Anywhere. I'm officially blue-balling you for the next 24 to 48 hours.
Sounds like my ex-wife.
Secondly, I don't know yet on which side of the fence my family will fall, and they are very, very pernickety about things like rebellion and, celestial queens coming to overthrow the current status quo. So, we'll need to be on our best behaviour at all times, and not mention it until we make a decision as to whether we can reveal it or not.
Yes. Now,
Okay.
where on this map do you live?
Prepare like a cover story or something, or just want us to wing it?
Should we pretend we are your cool friends from uni?
No, ship repairs will do just nicely. They expected me home around now anyway. This is an old ship.
So as you guys are like approaching Superior Terra, Kyandela does walk up to the bridge and look at it from where she is and mutters something under her breath. In the distance, you do see that grey ring turn into a few mile wide, like what looks like spaceport that covers a good portion of the planet orbiting around it in a huge ring. You see ships exiting that platform itself. And as you approach Everest, you do kind of get that fuzzy radio static, and you hear Rust Monster? Alia?
No, this is Everest of the Rust Monster. Alia is with us. We are docking for repairs.
Welcome back, Miss Uncroll. Please approach Bay 1132.
What continent do the uncles live in?
The continent, they don't. They live in the main palace.
All right. Which is not in a continent.
Yeah, it is.
All
Yes.
right.
Let me read my notes.
Sorry.
Amina. That's it. Oh, Europa.
Okay.
Yep.
Elite.
Sorry,
What?
what was that?
Take us in, Mr. Everest, please.
Everest takes them in.
So you have to approach a bay, and immediately, when within several hundred miles, your ship's just taken control of.
Everest pretends he's still doing it.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. And it's funny because the Queen doesn't know that that's happening. She does put her hand on your shoulder and say, "You are one remarkable pilot." And then she turns her back and walks away. As you do, you are kind of like basically guided into the Bay 1132, and as you get closer to the ring, you realise the monolithic size of this structure, and you see the hundreds of thousands of bays and ships that are docked here, including Imperial cruisers, these huge warships that take up many bays and are like basically stuck to this ring, and you can see like smaller ships working on it as you approach. Eventually you're docked, and ahead of you you see this flash of blue and green energy go over the ship from the bridge, Everest. And when it stops, you get another call through the radio. You are docked, Rust Monster. Feel free to come out to the station.
Okay, should we dress nicely, or will the cum-stained spacesuit do?
Anything but that. Actually, not quite anything. Something presentable, please.
Okay, I'll get dressed properly. And Everest comes back wearing jeans and like an Hawaiian t-shirt.
For fuck's sake.
Just an unbuttoned Hawaiian t-shirt. Right. Mr. Orlon, if you would like to accompany us, you're welcome to come to a light.
Well, of course. I mean, I was made to assist you. It wouldn't do well for me to stay here.
Right. Where's Siambella?
She's basically just sitting down in the lounge. She's not making a move. Why?
Just want to know if she's, contained, which isn't particularly possible.
Over the hour, she seemed to have calmed, and she occasionally disappears, and you don't see her for like 10 minutes, and then she comes back. And then it's like she's got stuff in her hands that you don't recognise, that shouldn't be on the ship, like huge tomes. And then they disappear.
I think she's fine here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right, you are. Well, let's go in. Start walking off the ship, I guess.
Orlon follows along.
So what you walk out onto is this platform, and it's a beautiful sight because this pale green and blue shield overhead prevents the vacuum of space getting in some hundreds of feet above you. You just see hundreds of ships going about their business, but beyond that is the sight of Terra, a huge blue-green planet. It just dominates your view. And as you're walking around, you can see people are going about their business. Overalls, most of them are dressed in overalls. Whizzing past you are a lot of like techs and engineers on like carts attached to rails and things. And eventually, Ali, you've been here before, and so would Everest. You have to just basically take one of these, and you have to take the space lift, basically.
Space.
There's no other name for it! You leave it alone! Yeah, a space elevator, basically.
Thank God we don't have to take the space stairs.
Don't make me. I'll make your character do it. Eventually, one of the rail-driven carts reaches a space elevator. Perhaps 45 minutes. They're dotted amongst this huge structure, and as you approach, the platform here does become dome-like and have a actual metallic structure rather than the shield that was protecting you before. And as you approach, huge automatic doors open, and inside you see hundreds of people going about their business. There's even offices here, and as you approach, there's shops. It's like a big shopping mall. Yeah. Yeah, there's people as you approach the main shaft that leads down to the planet, you see coffee shops, you see fast food shops. Yeah, there's everything that you could want here. And it does say like you are at a central hub train station, there is a timetable in hologram above the shaft detailing that you've got 30 minutes until the shut off, Adrian. 30 minutes until the next descent.
In the blink of an eye, Everest disappears and reappears with a corn dog.
Okay. We reconvene in half an hour.
Well,
I'll make sure not to embarrass you.
I will negotiate us rooms for this evening and put a call into my father. We'll be taken care of.
Tane.
mm-hmm.
GM intrusion.
No.
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 Alright, a bunch of people dressed in overalls, carrying boxes kind of bump into you, and one of them says, "Watch where you're going, freak!" And they keep passing by. Don't seem to push.
Are they all like that around here?
What do they look like, Liam? Just as a heads up.
They look like your typical Terran kind of techs. Probably aspirant techs. In their first term up here. They look. They look.
Check.
Carry on. Sorry.
So I was just going to say to Tane, I'd check your pockets if I were you.
Check my pocket. Is anything gone missing?
No, but you have a feeling why they did that, Tane. Same reason why you wanted to get off most planets to do with the Imperium to begin with. They're absolute hideous kind of cyborg racism type thing. It's just not. It's kind of frowned upon to fuse metal and tech with flesh.
Right.
As we discussed in your character background when we started. Mm-hmm. So it's not.
Yeah, give me a sec. I'll head back to the ship and I'll go put on a long shirt and get some gloves.
If you head back to the ship, you're gonna have to miss the next bit. This first descent, but it doesn't look like it matters because Everest is shopping.
He reappears sometimes, and he has some more Terra Prima merchandise. He's now wearing "I Love Terra" t-shirt. And the corn dog is gone, but half of it has moved into his mustache.
Right, well, probably better that I'll be right back. Kind of go. Sorry.
When you do get back to the ship, Kai and
Actually, the t-shirt says "My Prime is Terra."
Fuck's sake. When you get back to the ship, Tane, Kai and Della is sitting there reading a very large tome on the lounge, leaning over it, and you can see that several different books are floating around her. The moment you walk in, they all drop to the ground and she focuses on you. "Back so soon, my knight?" Was
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you. I was just
no,
getting some different clothes.
was there trouble? Do they not
kind
accept
of.
you for who you are? Begins to move towards you. You
Kind
know,
of, but never mind.
no. I could. Not that you need it. You're where you are, but I could fix.
Fix what?
And her hand gently caresses your arm.
What do you mean, fix that?
Exactly. Meant. Regrow flesh, muscle, bone. You.
That's fixed.
I'm glad you see it that way. Nods. Goes back to her books, all begin levitating again.
Yeah, no, I'll just go and grab some clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll head back down to where they were shopping.
Eventually,
That's
those
great.
of we'll see what. So, Alia, what are you doing in this section of the?
She's going to go put a call in to her father, if she can, to try and
Yeah. Okay. So
try and negotiate rooms for the. Well, negotiate. Just inform him, give him a heads up that she's coming home and is going to crash.
yeah. Okay. So you step into one of the hollow booths, and the moment you call the Uncle Palace, right, in the Peninsula of Britannia, the first thing that happens is you get a sort of automatic message come up in front of you, and you type in your own code, and eventually you hear your mother's voice. Alia? And she comes up on the screen in front of you. Her hair is loose, but you can see she's dressed formally. The pauldrons of House Renal, kind of black with gold trim, lay heavy over her shoulder. She kind of like ducks away as if she's in something, like in maybe a meeting, and she says, "You've called at a very odd moment. Home."
Oh, sorry, did you say that was my father? I missed that part.
No, your mother, Cassandra. Cassanderia. But yeah.
Don't you recognize your mother, dear?
Oh, Mummy, I have so much to tell you. It's great to see your face.
Yes, and you've turned up at a weird and auspicious moment.
Oh, do tell.
A parliament has been formed.
It has.
Yes.
Well, that's most interesting.
Do you recall... One moment. Do you recall Anweir? You know, of House Arkwait? House Arkwait?
Was he that funny little boy who...
The one that was exiled, darling. Remember?
Oh, yes. Oh, quite vividly.
Apparently, Imperial spies have found that he's renamed himself to Dr. Jared. Can you believe?
Imagine you can pick any name and you name yourself Dr. Jared.
Yeah, well, he says...
Is this... Hang on. Is this the bloke we met?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
bloke.
Yeah, okay, cool. I thought so. That okay.
Yes, the Order of the Titan found out that he's hiding out on Fear. We're thinking about sending cruisers very soon. Darling, thank God you're home.
I have so much to tell you. Is it alright if my crew come and stay? We've just had to... We need to come back in for repairs. They're quite eclectic, but they're quite delightful to meet.
Your crew?
Oh yes, my pilot, my navigator, and my base knight.
You haven't got rid of them
Okay.
yet.
Well, no, Mummy, I've still got some time left on my gap year.
Darling, your sabbatical's nearly over. Don't keep friends with these people.
Well, I'll be off again soon, Mummy. I need some time just to do some repairs, and I'd like to see the year through.
Fine. But make sure you don't head north. You know, to Fear. Any of those star systems near the Arc Wall. We're probably
We
we're
was
just gonna nuke it to oblivion.
right. Well, it'd be nice to see a catcher. Anyway, is it alright if we venture come home soonish?
Yes, of course. I'll have some of the servants prepare you and your crew rooms in the palace at Londinium.
Thank you, Mummy. Also, please can you prepare the room without the desktop computer for my pilot? I think he's got some square eyes and can do with some time without it.
Okay. And you can hear some kind of like shouting going on behind her on the hollow, and she says, "Look, I really shouldn't be taken, but I had to see you. Okay, well, I'll give it a few hours, and we'll be back to the palace. I'll make sure your father knows."
It'd be great to see you, and we'll be down very soon. Cut the call off.
Okay. So we've already established what Everest is doing down on this station. He's shopping, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've just been shopping around and doing that. What about Orlon? Orlon, you're just like, are you confused by what you see? What does he feel like?
Alia finishes her phone call, turns around, and Orlon's just standing about 4 foot behind her, just looking at her.
Oh, Mr. Orlon, wouldn't you like to take in some of the sights and really do anything?
If you think that would be useful, of course I can.
Right, well, maybe you could go and see what Mr. Tane's up to.
Very well. Good day, Princess.
Rhea just has like a teensy little shudder.
Like, does Orlon stand tall? Like, real big, like, over most people? Is he assuming?
Funny
if he was really small.
He's human-sized. He's not massively tall. He's probably about 6 foot, but probably slightly elevated in the big, bulky armor that he's in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you are getting, because of the big, bulky armor, you're getting a few kind of nods and kind of like looks, and eventually the Terran guard do come over, but they're not like trying to intimidate you or like, you know, getting your way. But one guy, like, he's got they wear the Terran guard, by the way, wear like what you would picture kind of like Halo Marines to be wearing, that sort of armor. But their mask is almost kind of like a helmet with like a mirrored surface, so you can see yourself reflected in the mirrored surface. And one of them, their mirrored surface shoots up to show a man with a big moustache, kind of salt and pepper, bald head. He looks up and he goes, "Boy, that aura is huge." And he just kind of like looks around and he goes, "How are you walking in that stuff?"
Why, thank you. I walk by putting one leg forward, followed by another.
Yeah, like we all do, I guess. I was just curious, what chapter of the guard are you from? Look, slightly old-fashioned though. Just looks you up and down. You look very much like an old Terran guard, but yeah.
I guard Miss Onkril.
Miss Onkril. He looks around like, well, I didn't know there was no royalty up here. Okay, sir. Turns around, goes about business. See the front mirrored kind of part of his helmet slam shut again.
None the wiser, he just continues walking and looking around at things.
Okay, eventually, Tane, you arrive back on the cart, back into this kind of like spacey shopping mall, and you guys have about 15 minutes until the next descent.
Try and find Everest.
I'm listening in.
Okay,
Don't mind me.
Yeah, so the group reunites, and the elevator, the space elevator, is not what like you think. It's not like a huge like tube that goes down to the planet. As you approach it, it's this ring of seats, like of 100 seats, and as you sit in it, it does blast you down, like the surface of the planet, through the atmosphere, and it spins and lands on certain parts of the planet. Like, so As you get in, this one would be going to Central Europa. Are we all good to go before I shoot you down to the planet?
We answer.
I'm all good.
Okay, so as you guys get in, it's like getting into like a roller coaster. You know, you're positioned in. You're given this like thing to drag down over yourself. It's locked into place. A belt goes on, and all of you sit there calm, countdown, and then bang! You know, you get some intense G forces. Some sort of chemical concoction is injected into your body via your spine and the back to stop you basically stroking out or having any ill effects from what just happened. And within an easy 5 minutes, you guys are descending fast. The jets kick in, and you land in basically described as a massive airport planet. And when the thing opens and you are guided out onto kind of like this pathway, first thing you notice is those of you who haven't been planet side for a long time, especially Orlon, you've never been planet side. It's like, okay, like immediately it's like you're in Europa's summer. It's hot. It's like we're talking 30 degrees Celsius. Sunshine blazes down upon you all, and the noise and the hubbub. Not to mention the smell. The first thing you've been on like a neutral ship. Well, you've been smelling Everest, right? It's like that's the worst thing you smelt in like a long time. But the moment you hit the planet, it's like pollution. It's like that acrid tinge in the air. Everything's grey and horrible. Like kind of all the buildings are grey and they rise high, like very high. And Alia, I'm assuming you just immediately take a transport, yeah?
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, so transport awaits you guys and takes off into the sky. And within 45 minutes, you are approaching the peninsula of Britannia. And from the sky, you can see, you know, like as if you're in an airplane, you can see the landmass below. And you approach Londinium and into the Onkrul palaces themselves. A huge set of spires stuck to a canyon that Alia would describe. Used to be a river, but long since dried up.
Everest on the way, every time he sits next to anyone, while Alia is nearby, points out that, yeah, you see the Onkrul princess over there? I'm basically her mentor. Everything she knows, I've taught her. We go way back. And then he eats some corn dog out of his mustache.
Who is this to? Orlon?
to everyone who sits next to him.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. A lot
Random
of
strangers, Orlon. Orlon, he accidentally tells this twice because he keeps forgetting that Orlon is one of them.
Yeah, okay. Alright, and so Alia, do you want to like describe mostly what kind of the palace looks like? Like I've described it as like almost like spires, but do you want to?
I can do. What's the transport?
A transport is almost like a huge kind of like more agile airship. Picture what a drone is now, but times the size by a rather large magnitude.
I can do if you're happy for me to take liberties.
Yeah, go ahead.
And also one more question before I go. In what part of Europe?
Well, the peninsula of Britannia would be Britain, but without the channel, and Londinium would be London. There's no River Thames anymore. That's the canyon I just described that's dried up.
So as it sort of, yeah, I guess it heads towards like a cesspool of or I can imagine being like a smoggy, gross city. It kind of like breaks through the clouds into sort of like just a general smogless area of almost like an eye of the storm, I presume, that's being held up by sort of some form of shielding to keep pollution out, into sort of gardens and rolling spires and various different, probably, I would say, quite neat white walls and large golden towers, I presume. I had a different idea, but if it was in England, I completely missed the point. So it would roll in over the gardens and scare away some peacocks, I presume.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Space peacocks,
Sorry.
please.
Hey, peacocks. Peacocks.
Yes. Alright, so the party does arrive at the Ankral Palace and are welcomed because you have Alia here. The palace itself is, and the palace gardens are open to the more prestigious members of public. It's not like it's empty.
So dignitaries around, I should imagine.
Yeah, and you're headed towards where you told your mother you wanted to be, and you're all given basically rooms on the same wing, and introduced by a man in his maybe late 150s, like huge grey moustache, a little bit of a salt and pepper like beard going on, bald head, and walks kind of very slow to the point where you guys are like having to stop so that he can direct you to.
Oh my god, he's a video game escort quest.
Yeah. And he does escort you to your rooms individually. This is for you, Mr. Orlon. This is yours, Everest. And when you walk in, Everest, it's very obvious that there's been some sort of rush job, and there's no wires and no like cables and no like computers in your room, no hollow booth, no nothing.
Everest does like a comical no in front of the desk.
Enjoy, and the door closes behind you. Tane, you are taken to the furthest room away, which is at the end of the corridor and overlooks the gardens, almost kind of like a semicircle room. He opens the door for you. Here you go, Mr. Tane. Your room for the evening.
Thanks.
The butler does walk back to you, Alia. How long will your friends be staying, my lady?
At least the evening, maybe 2. We probably want to get underway fairly quickly. It might be best, because we're all quite exhausted, if dinner could be sent up this evening.
Of course. And then leaves. Very slowly.
If Alia has no previous engagements, she will fall on bed, take 10 hours.
So I'm assuming the whole party's resting.
Yeah, we are taking the 10-hour rest. We really need it.
Yeah. Alright, so all on, I'm assuming you don't need the rest. Do you do anything in these 10 hours?
No, he just takes kind of self-development time in his newly formed conscious, just collating what he's observed.
Yeah, and you do, well, in one of the rooms, what does kind of not blow him away but confuse him slightly is, like, every now and then you turn and, like, there is a hollow screen that you figure out how to turn on, and it starts, like, playing random things, like images in front of you. It's like, it's a TV, basically, and it begins playing news, it begins playing random soap operas, it begins playing random streams of anything that just seems to pour out that you begin switching through. That's it. You could just sit and watch TV for 10 hours.
Yeah, I mean, although he doesn't need the physical rest, he'll probably take the mental rest at least if we're sleeping.
Yep.
10-hour rest, is it still only just the roll? Or is it everything?
No, it's everything.
Okay, sweet, because I'm bugging otherwise.
When you take a 10-hour rest, restore all your pulls, restore all of your... What's it called?
That's 6 XP, yeah.
Yeah, recovery rolls, no.
Just as a note for future, because I'll probably forget it, if anyone rests and I'm around, you can add 2 to your roll.
Very, very handy.
Manson Arcus.
Yeah. We did ask for a doctor, ask him about shall to receive.
Yeah, but you're British, so if you ask for a doctor, it might show up like a space wizard in a phone cell.
Yeah.
Like, you never know.
In 7 months.
Okay, I didn't know what your who was. Very cool. Channels Divine Blessing.
thought you did know that. I'm sure
I
told
didn't.
you.
You might have told me, but I forgot then. Alright, so a rest is had, and the evening begins to descend. And you guys wake up probably just as dinner would be starting, and you are fully rested. When Alia, there's a knock at your door.
No, come on.
And as the door is...
No, actually, she wouldn't do that. She'd open it herself, of course. She's a lady.
And as you do, standing there in a fine white gown, dressed for dinner, with a gold girdle and a heavy fur kind of trimmed kind of edge to his cuffs, is Marcellus Amata Oncru, your father. And then he just smiles, and he's had his, if you've seen the portrait, he's short-haired, grey-haired, kind of delicately trimmed beard, and he just rushes in to give you a hug.
She hasn't been back.
Alia,
Aww.
Alia, you're home. Finally. Enough gallivanting around space, eh? Come down to dinner. Introduce me to some of your friends.
Oh, I'm not done yet, you old shitbag. Anyway, come on. I'm going to introduce you. You'd love the pilot. He's a proper filthy little bastard.
Oh, is he? Is he one of those common stock that can't stop watching porn?
He was. I had to.
He's gonna be my favourite friend.
I thought it was hilarious. He was the worst one of the bunch, and I hired him as a joke, but he's actually pretty decent.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah. You should watch. You should see his search history, though. It's disgusting. I didn't even know what sodomy was until day 2.
What's his favourite food? I bet it's hot wings and corn dogs.
Oh, the cockpit is covered with them. It covers the stains up from the last trip.
Do you know what's a joke? We've got sautéed vegetables for dinner. He's gonna hate it.
Sit him right at the front next to Mummy. It'll be hilarious.
Oh, you think? Oh, she'll hate it, won't she? Funny. Wait, if he says he's a pervert, do you think he'll touch her under the table? That would be weird. She'll cut his hand off. Like she did the other
Probably.
servant. Ugh.
But it'll make it much more worth it.
Okay.
You might want to have a chat with my navigator. He's easily the most interesting. And there's obviously, if you're so inclined, a strange knight that is kind of like a doctor.
A doctor? Doctor?
I actually don't know much about him, It might be nice if I get a chance to properly have him vetted. But the navigator's quite interesting, as far as I can tell. But if you want to laugh, pilot right next to Mummy, and maybe the Countess if she's joining us, because that would just be delightful.
No. Tonight. I'm not afraid tonight. Wait one moment, I'm going to open the NPC names. He says, no, Giles, Soldain, my brother won't be joining us tonight. Fuck. It's been a right nightmare lately.
He always was a dick swab.
Anyway, let's go see your pilot. I hope he hasn't painted the room white.
No, I had them take the computers away.
Oh, who lives without a computer these days? He must be so fucking bored.
I don't know, but I'm almost frightened to knock. And then she'll knock.
Yeah, okay.
Everest had taken a shower and he's doing naked yoga.
So the door opens, and before you, Everest, stands the Uncle House Grand Honor, Marcellus Amata Oncru. He just turns to you, Alia, and goes, "Oh, he's exactly as you described."
No, he was my first hire.
It's cold, yeah, I'm bigger than this.
Aren't we all, friend? And he walks in and goes, get dressed. It's dinner time. Anyway, I'm Marcellus. You are?
I'm Everest.
He reaches
the
out to
pilot.
shake your hand.
He
Despite your
wipes his hand on the blanket and then gives it to him.
He shakes it nevertheless, and he turns and goes, looks at you and goes, "My God, you chose so well. It's going to be hilarious."
The piloting was just a bonus, really.
Anyway, get dressed. Dinner time. It's good to meet you. Thanks for piloting the old Ross monster.
Oh, she basically pilots herself.
Bet she does. Anyway, let's go meet your other ones.
Knocks on Tane's door. Knocks on Orlon's, I guess.
Right, so Tane. A knock at the door.
Muted.
You're muted, mate.
Line. He'll get up slowly, walk to the door, open it, not really realizing you're supposed to be dressed yet.
Yeah, you'd see a very well-dressed, noble Terran man, with a neat, trimmed beard and grey hair. Ah, the Navigator. Good to meet you.
Yes. Hi.
I am Marcellus Onkrul.
Ah, I see. Sorry. Go and get changed.
No problem. It can't be any worse than your pilot.
Yeah, no, that's true, but that's not exactly a high sound to live up to, is it?
No. No, indeed. And this other one, Orlon, is it?
It is.
Ah, you're a big one. Good to meet you, sir.
And to you, my lord.
Oh, don't worry about that, my little business while you're in my house. Make yourself at home.
Thank you.
Come then. I'm assuming you guys just go down and you have some food. Alright, so at this meal, you guys do meet Cassandaria Despina Rinal, Alia's mother. The pictures, by the way, you should all be able to see what they look like if you go to the NPC folder. You see your brother is in attendance, Cyril, and he just continuously stares at Everest with like wide-eyed horror.
His portrait is glorious.
Who's Cyril?
Yeah.
Yep. So in attendance is Marcellus, Cassandaria, and Cyril.
You can just imagine him staring at Everest with that face consistently.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. So delicious meal of sauté.
Why does this Solday look like a CNN news reporter?
Yeah, I know, right? And if you zoom in, her
So
tongue's
good.
hanging out a little bit.
I can't zoom in, unfortunately. I've tried
Yeah,
so many
I've got to
times.
zoom in.
You can just go right-click the portrait, or the in the sidebar on the right. Just right-click and go to character.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
That is a little bit weird.
it's really bizarre.
What's weird about having your phone thing?
I like it, so I kept it. Right? Look at it.
Does
Looks like she's
Hades
got
look
like a
like
little poison gland.
Does Hades look a bit like Captain America?
Well, in
Yeah, he
attendance
does. He does.
is your mother, Cassandaria, as you can see on the screen. Alex, if you want to take a look. And then you got your brother, Cyril. Continuously staring. Yeah, it's how he continuously stares at Everest. That's perfect. And your father, Marcellus.
Everest eating is like he goes continuously through phases where it looks like he forgot how to use a fork. And then he like hastily remembers, and 3 bites later he's holding it wrong again.
Yeah, you get a lovely dish of kind of some sort of fake meat, meant to taste like salmon with sautéed vegetables, and the wine is free flowing and it's good wine. Like, you guys have like a massive stash currently of gin, I believe, on your ship. This wine is just top notch, and eventually the discussion turns from kind of casual, how was your journey, to your brother interrupting. So, what's going to happen about this exile then? Jared, fellow. Yeah, so Marcellus goes, Alia, we had to do a lot of bargaining today, darling. It's, the Rust Monster's signature detected near Fear. Care to explain? Now,
It looks
obviously,
like a deer in the headlights.
obviously I'm on your side. No doubt about that. Whatever happened, happened. Sabbatical, what happens in the sabbatical stays in the sabbatical, am I right? And he leans in, and you see your mother give him a look of, what the fuck? Shut up. Does. We just want to know. That's all.
So, we were doing a little job, something, delivery, actually, intended to end on Thea. And, well, we delivered the package and then had a bit of complication, some betrayal, you'll be pleased to hear. Something was stolen from us. And then actually we came straight back here, really, for the repairs, because the ship was broken up. And I am very, very ashamed to say that I came across our good doctor and did not quite recognise his face.
Okay. That's fair. I believe you.
Rest assured, we had absolutely no dealings with him. He seemed unsavoury.
See. And then he turns to his wife, and she nods, and he goes, "Would you dear? Wouldn't get in too much trouble. Knew she did. Pay it off, pay it here, blah blah blah." Cyril kind of gives that look of jealousy down the table.
You'll be pleased to know that, he tried to get a little bit violent, and I was saved by my noble crew, Mr. Everest, the Virtuous, and Mr. Tame, both very handy in combat.
Everest is like drinking from a bottle directly, which he snatched from one of the waiters. Yeah, I wiggled my control stick back and forth, and he couldn't, beam us in.
Jesus fucking Christ, Adrian, what? Well, obviously, we thank you for helping our daughter. If there's anything that you need, let us know.
Well, actually, I'm glad you brought that up. You see, I've still got a few months left on my trip, and I would like to head out as soon as possible. However, we might need something just before we go.
Of course. And your mother goes, "Oh, darling, what is it? It's not going to be It's not going to be another puppy from Venetia, is it?"
What did you call it? Was it what was the net thing?
It's just called the net.
Oh, I thought it was, but I thought that was my brain going on. Actually, it would be quite handy to take a little bit of a dive into the net, just for our next, job.
Of course. Darling, every room has a connection.
Well, then we will not waste too much of your time. And if I may, we'll be off as soon as we need to be, and I'll be back home before you know it.
Yep. Oh, yeah. The meal is finished up with some sort of dessert, and you guys are welcome to traverse the palace.
Perhaps we should have a bit of a conversation, just the four of us.
What, no drinking games?
Wait, you see Ollie's father go, "Drinking games? I've got this fantastic drinking game."
Let's go.
Alright, and he goes, "Right, so there's this show on the net, correct? Right, it's based on a very old film, right? And I managed to get these archives." And he sits down, and he goes, "Sit down. So this is what you call parody." He puts all on.
And then?
He says, basically, you drink whenever, you laugh. You got a better game? I heard that Ring of Fire is great.
I honestly don't get it. It doesn't look anything like a Singularity engine.
I know, right? These people were so primitive. But, like, or we could play Ring of Fire, or we could play, what's that other one? What's that one that we used to play, darling? Cassandaria looks at you. Yeah, we're too old for that. Wanders off.
Oh, that sounds fun. Whatever that was. It's something you can be too old for. It's probably pretty fun.
Right, so what this one is another clip I found on old net. It's a clip of a random load of cartoons with me. Do it as you. You drink whenever you laugh, right? I found these rules.
Right.
I still
Should
don't.
we play some sad drinking games?
I still don't know what a hand jive is, but I'm learning.
Ollie gives him like a UR split.
Which version of Ring of Fire do you play? Is that the one where your ass burns up the next day because you're drinking shots with red pepper in there, or is this a different one?
We can do. We've got Tabasco. Do it.
All right.
I like
It's
your
on
crew.
you. My ass burns every day anyway.
Fuck's sake! Fuck's sake! Why is your character like this?
I call it my arc drive.
So yeah, drinking games are had. What about Orlon? Does Orlon actually get involved, or is he just?
It does, yeah. If
Yeah.
if the rest of the crew are drinking, then yeah, he just follows along, learns the rules.
It's like that scene out of Lord of the Rings, the extended edition, where Gimli and Legolas have their drinking contest, except it's Orlon and Everest, and Everest just completely shits the bed. Orlon's like, oh.
Yeah, so it's a long night, and eventually you guys, having rested for the night and spent, you had a good time, and you wake up the next day slightly worse for wear, but the butler does arrive mostly with a platter of breakfast for you all, and you're up and ready to go.
Nice.
And, being that you've had a nice relaxing night and that you've done all of that, I'm going to give you an experience point.
Oh, how generous.
Did Barney take the intrusion earlier?
We would have had
Not-
2 extra experience points if he had done that.
Yeah, I'm running low on experience. I need some more.
Intrude me, Liam, intrude me.
to be honest, we forgot to tier up Alia, so...
No, we didn't. She's been teared up.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
she has. Alright, so, the group are on Terra. Is there anything you guys would like to do? Ask, find out, research, go, visit?
Yo, Alia, when are we gonna tell your dad about the treason?
Please tell me he's not still there.
No, of course not. He's gone about his daily business.
Listen, I'm going to let him know somewhere a bit in private before we leave.
Ah! A GM intrusion, Alia. Do you accept?
Yeah, shits and giggles because I'm hoping it goes down the route of intrigue, so fuck it.
Because yesterday, when I was drunk, I was telling your dad by accident, we are committing treason. But I corrected it by saying, no, everything we do is within reason. And I think he bought it.
Right, so, who are you giving the other experience point to?
Has Tane not tiered yet?
No.
I
Tane.
just did with that experience.
Oh, nice.
Give him
So,
another one,
zero.
he's still one behind.
Yeah, I'll give it to Tane.
Alright.
Thanks.
Alright, so, as you are talking to Everest, and Everest goes, so you're not going to tell, your father about the treason, and you are begin talking, you hear, oh, sister, what's this I hear about treason? And your brother steps from behind the corner. He was obviously eavesdropping, arms
Which is
folded.
one Cyril.
Yeah, Cyril.
That's absolute
Cyril.
character.
Fuck off, Cyril, you little worm.
Oh, but I'm not the one thinking of treason, am I? What sort of treason is this? Huh?
Well,
Yes.
her dad didn't give me a computer in my room, so I
That's probably
used
because
the
you're gonna
one.
wank yourself silly. You goddamn
Yeah,
common peasant.
that's what I did in her father's room.
Guys, this is Cyril. He's my brother.
Oh, we met
And-
last night at the dinner, idiot.
Honestly, he's the most impetuous little cretin you could ever meet. Cyril,
He's the
Daddy won't listen to you.
I
Treacherous
thought we
cunt.
covered.
Look,
I thought we.
I'm gonna go tell Dad now of what I just heard. Okay? And he begins to walk backwards. Treason. I knew you were. He goes to say it again, but thinks better. But never thought you'd be treasonous. Not even I would go down to that on my sabbatical. At least I treated the rust monster well.
He literally took it to a library for a year.
Good one. Turns away and begins to run.
There's different qualities of libraries.
That's going to cause us a headache later. I think it's important that we make a plan about these eyeballs. Eyes?
Should I research them while you diffuse the situation with your father?
Might be a good idea. Honestly, I'm not worried if he goes to my father. If he goes to my uncle, we're fucked.
You didn't say anything. I said anything. You can just tell them I'm stupid. They believe that anyway. I overheard your father yesterday.
Trust me, if my uncle gets a hold of this, we'll wish we were stupid. Right, yeah, you take a look for the eyeballs. I'll go and deal with this. And
I'll bring all on. He seems smart.
is there anything else we'd probably better look into before we go? It might be an idea to see if we can procure ourselves another arc drive. It's a long shot, I know, but
I think you should ask your father to put a gun on the ship. Because multiple times I've been thinking, wow, I wish this ship had a gun.
it's a really good idea for me to not ask him that. Maybe I'll ask my
Did
uncle.
you say not ask him that?
It's okay. I think I've got a plan. Mr. Tane,
Mm-hmm.
is there anything you need to busy yourself with while we're here? It might mean that we have to take a rather swift exit out of the bedroom window, as it were, metaphorically speaking.
I'm all for that.
Hey, do you think we can get them to give us a box of the wine?
Really?
Yes, I mean, you could probably just take it. There's an entire cellar, in the basement.
It would be weird if the cellar was elsewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a plan then. Booze, I research, not in this order. Let's go.
Alright. You like to fast forward for the sake of brevity.
Yes.
Say, you're back up on the ring, and you've got a large box of wine. I'm assuming.
Yep.
Okay, Alia, anything?
Yeah, I mean, presuming she manages to smooth that over, I'm quite happy to skip ahead. But
Smooth over what? Were you actually gonna go try smooth it over? All right, no.
yeah, well, she is breaking off.
Yeah, you break off and go find your father.
Yeah.
All right, he's on daily business, so he's not actually in the palace.
So Cyril hasn't found him yet.
No, and you can't find Cyril either.
Shit. She'll write him a letter explaining everything.
Okay.
Seal it. Place it in his study in a place that she knows will be safe, or that he'll check and no one else is likely to look.
Okay, so can we make a persuasion check? Intelligence persuasion. You have anything to help you here?
The love of a daughter.
I'd say that's... Yeah. I mean, he did say a second ago that anything she's done, he'll bribe his way out of it. He'll bribe her way out of it. I mean,
yeah, that's good. So I'll give you a level for that. So difficulty 4.
difficulty 4 intellect, yeah?
Mm-hmm. You're gonna spend it. Oh, well, there you go. Bang on the money. So you pen this letter using your best I'm your favourite daughter voice and leave it in his office.
Way out, she'll see if she can bump into her uncle, but if she can't, then
No.
she'll head up the space lift.
You do ask around and you do get the Hades is currently on Mars.
Of course he is. If there's an antagonist in the making, it's definitely him. She'll then go up the space lift. If she can say goodbye to her mother, she will, but if she's on business, then she'll send her a courtesy video.
Sure.
And, yeah, head on up. Privacy's sake.
Yeah, so go back up on the space lift. Oh yeah, you have to get the transport. It takes about 2 hours to get back to the ship. But once you're back there, you see that Iandella sits at the lounge peacefully. Payne, you had seen all those books before. Seems like the place has been tidied. Like maybe she got bored.
Okay.
I have our destinations.
Good, we have wine.
I did try some of the swill you have down in cargo bay. Not
The
to
gin.
my liking. Is that what it's called?
We picked it up on a pirate planet.
My day, gin stayed in the lamp.
Oh, that's a wizard pun, isn't it? I don't get it.
Silence. Orlon, welcome back. Did you learn much by visiting my old world?
A great deal, my queen.
Good. Stands. My eyes are in separate parts of Titan's Reach. I have evidence to prove that maybe one is in a place called Drake's Rest. The other in Oceanus. And Everest, you recognize that name, obviously.
Oh no.
Right, oh no.
I don't like going home.
Oh, will your family host us like mine have here?
There isn't much family or anyone to speak of. There's just ice and whales and the screams of their torment. And more ice.
Are these places close together, Mr. Tang?
Are they?
No. In fact, Oceanus is the only system inside in the Imperial space. The Drake's Rest is in the Sunless Kingdoms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I would suggest we go to Drake's Rest first, so that I have a chance to die before I have to go home.
Isn't Oceanus much closer?
It is.
What does the distance mean if we teleport through arc space?
With all due respect, you eat enough hot wings that the chances are likely to remain equal.
Well, eat more hot wings then. Oceanus is a system, right? Or is it a planet?
Oceanus is the system. The world that you are from is called Oceanu.
Okay. Well, let's hope we don't have to go to that world then. Do you know where in the system? Can you narrow it down?
I cannot.
Will you be able to narrow it down once we're there?
Perhaps I may be able to sense its power, but until we are there, I cannot tell.
Okay, well, let's hope you can send it quickly, because there's nothing you can do to sightsee in the Oceanus system. It's just sadness and misery and ice and misery And eyes. And misery.
Were you bullied?
For say bullied?
Well, it just seems like you might be running away from something, and you mentioned misery quite a few times.
There's only so many times you can use a jackhammer to drill into the spine of a whale until it screams before you're thinking to yourselves, oh, this is a bad day I'm having.
Did the other whalers make you feel small?
Just make me feel small. Woman, I tormented whales for a living.
What is a whale?
It's like a big fish.
It's a fish.
What is a fish?
That's the galactic question, that. What is a fish?
They are flying creatures that swim in water on planets that have water. The size of one container. They vary in size. Well, very small. Your finger to size of several.
Like a whale.
Understood.
Whales are not.
Did you jackhammer fish as well?
No, you... Look, the whales... We drill them for medicine. Like, one of their liquids is a core component of some fancy-ass medicine they use on Terra Prime. But once they die, the full fucking thing turns poisonous. So you hook them, and then you drill them while they're alive.
That does sound pretty barbaric.
Yeah, but, you know, if you use, like, some smell candles on Terra Prime, you can think to yourself, whoa, Everest drilled that out of a whale.
Well, I'm very sorry that we're having to return there. If you feel so strongly about it, it must be awful killing the backs of whales while being bullied.
I don't know where this bullying is from. It's never bullied, I was cool.
Oh,
I grew this mustache when I was 12.
Mr. Tone, a course to Oceanus, if you please.
Yeah, from Terra Prima here, you won't have to go far if you just want to take a normal arc gate.
Yeah, we normal arcade. We can skip through all the shenanigans where we buy McDonald's and stand in line and then go through the arc space.
I feel like that's character building, though. I feel like that's
Space Donald.
that's
Based on.
imperative for the storyline. Okay, so
I feel like this close to Terra Prime is probably not Space Donalds. They probably have like 5 space guys here.
fuck's sake,
Yeah. Space GI's Fridays.
Space Mamas.
No, that's stupid, Liam.
Fuck's sake. Alright, so Terra Prima has many arc gates, like in orbit. So it takes maybe 10 hours to travel to the gate towards Oceanus. And when you do get there, there isn't much of a line. Coming from Oceanus is a few dozen freighters. And as you approach, it takes maybe 10 minutes to get a ring. And once connected, you're shot forth towards Oceanus. While you're travelling, Iondella does say, when we get there, I don't know what we're for, so I will rely on you, crew, and your skills to retrieve my eye. You, Everest, the pilot, you are from
Yes.
this system, are you not? Other than killing innocent creatures, in a barbaric fashion, what else is there?
Police.
Okay, so there's the barbaric killing of the creatures. And we have fast food stands. And there's a space elevator down. And yeah, we really just barbarically kill whales. That's the main industry.
Can I ask, why do you kill them with your penis?
Oh no, that's not what I meant by jackhammering them. They do have holes at the top. And I think someone got
I watched a
fired for that once.
program on the screen in the palace yesterday. It mentioned jackhammering. It was to place a sex organ in another.
Why did he get a computer?
You can be trusted.
On the wall.
Can be trusted.
Apparently, no one can be trusted.
No, I meant it different. It's a metaphor. It's a metaphor when you do it with people.
I see. Thank you for enlightening me.
The main industry of Oceanos is not fucking whales. I would have had a far better time if that was the case.
Why is this crew like so fucking? Why is
If we
this-
don't want to go down to the sad old to the whale killing machinery, we can just go to the pharmacy labs. There's a bunch of them. They don't transport it all straight away.
Pharmacy lab. That's when Kyan speaks up. What is this laboratory then?
Well, we draw the stuff out of the whales, then it goes there, and then they do nefarious stuff with it.
Have you ever seen inside of these laboratories?
Well, they put me in a tank once, and since then my mustache is electric.
What is this liquid that the whales drilled out of them used for? Is it life lengthening?
I imagine they don't give us the stuff. We just drill it out.
He
Or drilled it out.
He turns to the crew. My eye is there. Feel it.
In a lab.
It held magic. Life-lengthening magic. That is what I do. I am necromancy.
But you think it's like on the planet and it fucks with the whales?
No, I believe your people, Everest, are using the liquid in conjunction with my eye.
What, so we take it and then the entire industry of the system is dead? Great. Oh yeah, let's do that. That sounds like revenge. I love it.
What?
They ruined my childhood. I wasn't bullied.
And if we were to take your eye, they would lose all facility to exploit these whales.
I do not care for the whales. I do not know. Know that they must be using my eye, like Everest put it, for nefarious purposes.
If they were using it with dolphins, they'd be using it for nefarious porpoises.
I knew where the joke was going at the start of the sentence. I was like, here we go.
Just get fucked with that.
You are correct.
Oh my god, that's so terrible.
That was awful.
It was. Why would you make that? I've given you experiences before for making me laugh, but that one doesn't even deserve one.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. Oh, so anything that the party needs to prepare before they go through. Oh, And
Well, I
land.
think
Uh,
Everest needs to go shopping for a better sense of humor.
Yeah.
Everest puts on 2 pairs of socks and a second t-shirt below his spacesuit.
Okay, yeah. Definitely need some sort of like... So, those of you who have access to the shipwide computer have access to the information about Oceanu. It's an ice world, it's terrestrial, its atmosphere is thin, making it difficult to breathe on the surface without proper equipment. Yeah, main export is fish. Basically, you know, this is the normal stuff you can get from the ship's computer. It's basically fish, food, and certain types of minerals that is dug out of what terrestrial land Oceanu does have. Doesn't obviously the shipwide computer doesn't say anything about the export of this liquid. Well,
But you know, Everest talks about all kinds of liquids, so who knows?
yep. Okay, so the ship after the hour appears at the Arc Gate on the opposite side. The Arc Gate here in the Oceanus system, as Everest would know, comes out at Siren, a rocky Mercury-like world closer to the star here. The star being a very dead star that glows pale white in the distance. As you head out, you know that Oceanu is quite far out, and the journey will take you at least another 10 hours. And as you begin to approach it, it is a pale blue dot from a distance that begins to get larger, larger and larger. And as you approach it, see it's got no moons, just a desolate, cold, pale blue dot. And as you approach it, there is evidence of signals coming from satellites and other equipment. You do see the odd freighter come up on short-range scanners. There is many like bubbled kind of metropolitan areas around the planet. The one with the lab, is that the one you want to land at, Everest?
Yeah, I think that's where we're going.
Okay, are you heading straight home? You're not, no trepidation here. You're just gonna power on through.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the rust monster breaks through the relatively thin atmosphere here, and as it does, there's that sound that you will hear of ice crystals slamming against the hull from outside. It's like you've just like flown straight through a hailstorm, and you see like a hailstorm of pellets on the outside. And the moment you break through the cloud cover, those of you who have access to the bridge see a vast icy landscape, occasionally broke with like huge craters. A mist seems to hang over the perpetually, and within a few minutes you descend upon this large bubbled atmosphere, very similar to the first planet we all started on with Dyson 8. And as you pass through it, it lets you through, and there is no radio that comes through. There's no one hails you in Everest. You just have these, they're almost like large spinal columns that come up the center of this dome, and each one has like a pad or ship to land upon, and they're built very large so that freighters can land here.
There's no statics. Can I hail them?
Can if you wish, yeah.
Okay, Princess, you are doing this. You're gonna explain to them that you wanna, I don't, facilities or something.
From the bridge, all of you do see this just dull grey landscape, right? People are moving about doing their business down here, but it holds no more than maybe 5,000 people. Small township of a bubble.
Don't smile at anyone once we land. They'll think you have money.
One of my
We do though. What?
Yeah,
What's
that's
our
why you
problem?
don't smile at them, so they don't know, so no one robs the ship while we're gone.
Uh,
How do you think I got off the planet?
What, you mean you rob people?
No, I would never. I have qualifications. I'm a trained pilot.
So how did you just... What?
Read between the lines.
So let me get this straight. You're respectable here.
No. No one is
Alright.
respectable here.
But in the scheme of here, you're qualified.
Well, yeah, because I have a piloting license. You are here are some sort of goddess. They're gonna kiss the ground you walk on.
So I'm here to, which is not that thing in my hand since you said to hail something.
Inspect the facility. Something we get to go into the pharmacy thing so we can search for a spooky woman's eye.
I've got it. Is there a, is there someone I should be contacting to ask permission? Some kind of whaler in chief?
I've only fled from here. I haven't ever landed here.
This is the bus monster. This is. Am I making this up?
Say
this
your
is-
name.
This is Alia Eritrea Isabellancro, and I'm here to take a tour of your facility on my family sabbatical. I was wondering if you would accommodate me for a few hours. I've heard such great things.
Oh my god, shut up, land where you want.
Thank you. Wherever I want.
Yeah. Pick a bay, land your ship.
Okay, we're gonna take the biggest bait to spite them. We're taking the biggest bait to spite them.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know if I like this place.
It's do the dick move parking and like park between two bays.
Yeah, that's exactly what Everest is currently doing.
Over the line.
Brilliant. So yeah, so you land the Ross monster awkwardly, may I add. And when you do, and you guys kind of get used to it and step outside, open the cargo bay door to exit. It's freezing, even though they've got that bubble like which you've experienced in other planets before. Well, Orlon hasn't, but the rest of you have. There's just still minus degrees outside. Those of you who are not dressed for it are immediately feeling it. And you are standing quite high as soon as you land on this spine. So let me describe the way it is. Like this bubble's probably a few kilometers in diameter, right? And in the center is this like spinal column, almost like a pillar. And coming off of those pillars are the bays that you guys can see the freighters and the ships landing on. They're pretty much empty. From where you are, quite high up though, you can see out to the city of this dull grey. Almost looks like a dull grey motherboard from above. That kind of look that it's got going on. Like there's the occasional cylindrical building, the occasional cube building, the occasional rectangle building. It's very monotone and boring. However, there is one large complex in the eastern wing of the dome. With the Oceanus Pharmaceutical Company logo hanging on it. A blue whale. Ironically with a smiling face.
I knew you were gonna say that. It has like two colors, the back is red.
Yeah. Wow, I butchered the spelling of pharmaceutical.
Well done, my home planet. It's nearly as nice as Alia's.
Seems lovely.
Yeah, you should see it in winter.
So we really just park here and leave it here with no permits or locks or...
Well, we do have an eldritch sorceress on the ship, so
Gives you a wave.
I feel like it's gonna be pretty safe.
Security isn't really my biggest concern. It's more the lack of institutionally.
Well, no one here knows how to drive a ship, so really, who's gonna steal it?
Right. Do we need anything like boots or hand sanitizer?
Well, if you've been to the cockpit, you should have hand sanitizer.
May I add, Iandella steps in, if anyone goes to take your ship, the Rust Monster, for a joyride, I will festoon the bridge with their innards.
What is that verb you used? Festoon?
Festoon.
Festoon?
To garnish an area with an object or dressing.
Oh yeah, I've done that before.
Nice.
Right, well, that probably about covers it. Mr. Everest, I'd be delighted if you'd show me around your homeworld.
Sure, and he takes the direct route to the pharmacy facility, and at times he points at, that's a freight yard. There's a freight yard. Over
So-
there's a freight yard.
Is this like, are you like leaving now, like actually going down?
Yeah.
Okay. As you begin heading down, there's a moment though when you're about halfway down the pillar and you just hear this very loud, mournful cry echo across the ice waste. It's a very low, kind of mournful cry that the moment it reaches the city, Everest, you kind of stop, cringe.
Everest's facial expression doesn't change, but his mustache becomes kind of droopy. Hangs lower.
And everyone but Orlon feels it in their soul, like they feel this is... Orlon, you feel like that's distressing. You can't really put a name to the emotion or anything. The rest of you definitely immediately feel, oh, that's... I need you all to make me an intelligence check, difficulty 2. Yes, the longer you stay here, the more depressed you get.
Everest immediately starts.
Yeah, that's so fitting. That's so fitting.
Did you want me to do it as well?
Yes, but because of your kind of aloof nature currently, it's difficulty 1 for you.
Okay, I'll effort it, so...
Nothing. Yeah, you don't even feel it. Right, so Everest, you take 1 damage to your intellect pool.
And he sighs.
This is why you left, because you were permanently impaired. How sad you were. And as that cry, that mournful cry...
Like it was like some Star Wars Dies of Sadness.
Yeah, Padme.
Hadn't they?
Apparently they were just really close to a whaling planet.
Yeah. And as that mournful cry echoes up the shaft of the elevator chamber that you're in,
Shaft.
and it stops and it opens, revealing the dome in front of you, ready to explore. We'll go ahead and end tonight's session there. I'll give you all 2 experience for the session as well.
Way.
There wasn't a lot of combat, there wasn't a lot of opportunity for GM intrusion, so I think...
But next session we'll do a jewel heist, ironically after the heist character has left the party.
that is the thing, right? Celeste would have been perfect for this mission. However... but anyway, it looks like next time we'll be back in 2 weeks' time and we'll be maybe doing a heist on a pharmaceutical company. I don't know what you guys do, I can never tell. But we'll be back then to see how that goes.